Final Fantasy VII was originally in development for the SNES, but they decided that they wanted to go 3D, and the rest is history. You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of the TheXboxHub.com. For all the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos, and opinions, make sure you visit the TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello and welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode 195. My name is Gareth. I'm going to be your host, and on my virtual left is Mr. Darren Edwards. How you doing, Darren?
Hi there, good evening. I'm very well. How are you, Gareth?
I'm good. It's very rainy here. It's been raining for 2 days. I'm had enough of it. I don't like it.
We're all right so far today.
I know. It's just very strange for London to be so rainy, but there we go. And on my virtual right is Mr. Paul Renshaw. How are you doing?
Hello, Gareth. I'm very sad to hear that it's been raining in London.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been quite nice up here. It's not too bad at all. So
okay.
You keep hold of that rain because I'm going fishing tomorrow, so we don't want any of it here.
No, you don't want that. And on my virtual opposite is Mr. Richard Dobson. How you doing, Richard?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. I've got nothing to comment on the state of the weather.
Maybe we could do a weather podcast.
Maybe we could, yeah. Get Wincy Willis in as a guest editor.
Who?
You won't know.
Wincy Willis. Come on, you must know Wincy Willis.
Sounds like an adult star, that does, Paul. I'm not going to lie.
Well, obviously you watch different films than me, my friend.
No comment.
Richard, how's your week been?
Pretty good. I saw Thrice at the weekend in Manchester. They're an older band now. They were doing a 20th anniversary of one of their earlier albums. So that was really good to see them. They're always a favourite. I've kept up with them throughout everything that they've done. So, yeah, really good to see them. I also made the mistake of going to see Madam Web, which the less said the better. It is as bad as everyone's saying, and I was trying to go in quite optimistic about it, but no, it is just terrible.
I was talking to this one. I was teaching this week. One of the students saw it and said the same thing. Even the main actress was slagging it off before when she did the rounds, which isn't a good sign, is it, Richard?
No, but I mean, she probably know better than everyone else, having to sit through it repeatedly at premieres and even filming it, obviously. But yeah, it's just full of stupid ideas and stupid set pieces, and it's honestly, it's one of the worst films I've seen in a long time.
Wow, there you go. Oh my word! What about you, Paul? You seen anything as worse as Madam Web?
Do you know? Funnily enough, I think I can top that. I made the mistake of just flicking through the telly one night and saw the Monster Hunter film that was being played, I think, on Channel 4. The one with Mila Jovovich. And and it was like a car crash almost. When you just can't look away because you don't think it can get any more stupid than it does. And then it tops it, and then it gets even stupider. And it was an experience, but not one that I would wish on anybody else.
Oh my God! It's terrible doom and gloom this week.
I'll see your Madam Web and raise you Monster Hunter.
Wow, Darren, can you help us out? Can you get us out of this?
I'll try. I haven't really had time to watch much last week, but we finished that Criminal Records on Apple TV. I don't know if you're still watching it, Gareth.
I've not started yet.
Oh, it's great. I think it's only 7 episodes, so it's not too long, but yeah, it's really good. So we finished that. We did last night. We started something called Shogun, actually, which has had really good reviews. It's set in like feudal Japan, and it's a bit Game of Thronesy. I think it's on Disney Plus. It's had a couple of episodes, so check that out if you want something new to watch. But no, otherwise, we went to a friend's son's christening on Sunday, and then we were away in the lakes for my birthday a few days ago. Stayed in a geodome for the night, so that was exciting.
Oh, what happened in the geodome? What was a geodome?
So it's a bit like the Crystal Maze. So it's a semicircle dome where half of it's covered and half of it's clear, so you can see out into the night sky, and you sleep in it. It's a bit like glamping, really. And it's got like power, little electric heater. You can bring all your own stuff as well, and just in the middle of a field in the Lake District, away from the hustle and bustle of the world. And it was great. Really nice way to spend an evening.
Oh, and happy birthday to Darren for his birthday.
Thank you.
What have I been doing? I have been watching a TV series on Apple called Constellation, and it's a series about an astronaut who goes in space. There's a terrible accident that happens that I won't spoil you, and at the same time there's an experiment that they're trying to find a new form of matter, and this might have something to do with the accident. So it's very much like Gravity at the beginning, trying to survive this, how to get back. It's like a big thing of there's only one, the whole space station is damaged. They've got to try to find a way of getting her back, and so it has a kind of, it's very tense. But at the same time, there's strange things going on back home. It keeps going backwards and forwards in time, and she's with her daughter, but it seems, is her daughter really her daughter? So it's a kind of maybe a sort of actually survivally. Little bit of horror in there, but it's really interesting. I mean, they all take it so seriously though. But that's what you've got to do. It's quite po-faced at times, but I'm really enjoying it. It's on Apple TV. I think I watched about 3 episodes. I think I know what's going on, but I often say this and I'm proved wrong. So
you wouldn't think you knew what was going on from that explanation. Do you think he's only ever watched the trailer?
It's good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. I'll wait for a couple more episodes to really highly recommend it. There we go. That's our TV stuff. What about games? What have we been playing? Who should we start with? Who's got the most exciting one to talk about? Definitely not Paul. Let's go to.
Rude.
Yeah, you have. Let's go to Richard first. Richard, what have you been playing? You got a 5-star game here. 5 out of 5. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Balatro, which has seemingly taken the internet by storm since it released. So I think there was a demo at the end of last year, and it came out into full release a week or so ago. And it's a poker roguelite, I believe, or roguelike. I can never tell the difference between those two. And you get given a set of cards, a hand, and you need to make poker hands with those cards, and then you'll get a score based on that. And as you progress through this roguelike, the blinds, which are basically like your score targets, will increase over time. But you get there's 150 Joker cards in Balatro, and each one of those offers a unique way to alter your score. So it could give you a simple multiplier, or it'll give you extra chips if you're using certain cards and everything like that. And because there's so many of these cards, every time you play this game, it just completely changes how you'll approach it. So you'll start off trying to create the best hand, but then it depends on what jokers will pop up in the shop, and you sort of need to adapt to these jokers and learn how to maximize the output from them. And it's just an absolute blast. Like, I'm not a massive roguelite or roguelike fan, but I'm a big poker fan, and I think this game really suits me having well, it'll suit anyone really. I mean, you don't need any real knowledge of poker other than the types of hands, but obviously all that's explained in the game, that the better hands over the hand ranking. It's just the amount of variation that goes on and how wildly different one run can be to something else, and it's a joy to discover a new Joker card and see if you can make any use of it and things like that, because there'll be some cards that you won't get on with. So if you see those, it's like avoid them in the shop and try and wait and see what comes up next. But the way that everything's so different every time you play it just means that there's like this endless replayability to it. And it's almost like the Joker cards are put in there for you to sort of break the game, because there'll be some, I've been keeping an eye on it online, there'll be some way of manipulating it at some point that someone's yet to discover, where they'll have 5 or 6 of the best Joker cards and they'll say, do it this way if you can. Change your deck. You can change your deck by bringing in new cards and things like that. Get it this way and you'll just absolutely rinse the game. But I think that's what's exciting about it, is there's the opportunity to do that, for someone to find this like absolute godlike run through it. And yeah, it's got a lot of tongues wagging, and it's completely justified why I gave it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, people are going mad about it, aren't they? And you've highlighted that in your review with the 5 out of 5, but people are loving it, aren't they? It's really been... I think that's right. I think it's really exciting that you said, yeah, there isn't someone that you can see who's... People are still trying to find out the trick of it, aren't they?
Yeah. There's got to be something out there that'll just absolutely break the game. But I think perhaps it'll be something that speedrunners can take advantage of. But with there being so many Joker cards, there's just so many possibilities, which is all very exciting. You never know what you're going to run into with it, and it keeps improving over time as well.
Good. That does look good. I'm not very good with these card games, but one day maybe this is why. How much is it, Richard? Can you remember?
I think it was about $12.99. It wasn't mega bucks.
Okay. Right. Good. Okay. Any questions from you two?
God, no. That sounds absolutely dreadful.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul, for that. Good. Let's go for Paul. Show us, Paul, what you've been playing. What's one of your games?
I've been playing a game that we will be mentioning later on, actually, called Classified France 44. And it's set in the days before the Allied landings on D-Day.
1944?
Yeah, 1944.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 1844 when they went and did D-Day, yeah. Come on, Gareth, you remember it like it, yeah. Anyway, yes. So yeah, basically we start the game, we play as a group of paratroopers who've dropped into northern France, and the idea is that we've got to get the resistance together and start making the way easier for our troops when they get over there. It plays out as a tactical RPG, so the usual sort of thing where you've got a set distance you can move, and then you've got a set number of points that you can spend either moving or shooting or reloading or whatever it is you may do. And it's very well done. I'm really enjoying it. The atmosphere of the game is fantastic. You always feel like you're right on the edge of disaster as you're trying to get away from these mean old Nazis who are trying to stop you from blowing up their bases and stuff. So, yeah. It's the review will be coming soon. I'm very much enjoying it, but I do like a tactical RPG, and it makes a change from like Warhammer. Instead of stomping around in a big suit of power armor, you're a little squishy grunt trying to not get shot. So, yeah, very good fun and one to look out for.
Good. Any questions to Paul?
No.
At least he didn't say God no.
He was thinking it though.
He did a good job describing it, and it sounds like it's not one for me.
No, for none of us, I think. Good though.
Oh, for goodness sake,
we
are a bunch of Philistines.
We're going to talk about a game now that we've all been playing, because we're going to talk about this with Darren's special one. So, Darren, tell us about the game we've all been playing. Adrian's Tale.
Yeah. When you say all,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Paul, don't tell me you've
yeah.
Darren, tell us about
it. So Adrian's Tale is it's a little role-playing adventure game where you play as the titular character Adrian, and he is investigating why all the animals have disappeared, or most of the animals have disappeared, seemingly overnight. So that's pretty much the setup for it, and it plays very much like the early days of Legend of Zelda. So the original Legend of Zelda on the NES, it's very reminiscent of that. Visually, it reminded me a lot of the Link's Awakening remake, which I'm sure you'll be familiar with, Richard, which came out a few years ago, which was Link's Awakening, the second one. And it hits all the notes you'd expect from those type of games. So you can nip into people's houses and chat to them, and then you'll find quest items, or you'll find items such as a map, which then you can use to plot your way around the different environments. And there's a few different environments as well. So you start out in what I'm assuming is the hometown, and then you can venture out into like a sandy desert land, and then like an ice mountain land as well. So in terms of weapons, you've got a sword which you can slash through the grass and find items. Again, pretty similar to Zelda, but you can also use that in combat. But as well, you can also unlock things like bombs and stuff as well, which you can use. So it's a little bit kind of in that Metroidvania style, whereas once you've unlocked that weapon, you can go back and break some boulders that you couldn't break before, etc., etc. So I found it to have quite a charm to it, even though there was nothing there that you kind of haven't seen before, if I'm being honest. But what is more impressive is that it was developed and published by the same person, so Badri Babua. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Apologies if not. So considering it's a kind of a one-man band project, I was quite impressed in terms of how deep the game was. But ultimately, as I say, there's not a lot in there that you won't have seen before from these type of games. So that's kind of where I've landed. And by the time this podcast goes out, my full thoughts will be out for review as well. But what did you think, Gareth?
I think I think it was charming. It's relaxing. I had about an hour with it, just pottering around. I really kind of enjoyed it, but it is like an old school. Yeah, it's nothing I haven't played, or there's nothing that surprised me there. But if as a kind of homage to those games, it does it really well. And so
I agree.
So it's really
I
good.
agree.
Yeah.
I think it will be a really good entry point for like a younger gamer who's looking to get into that role playing kind of open world adventure. Because I've kind of said in my review that one of the things that inspired Shigeru Miyamoto to come up with the concept of Legend of Zelda is being young and kind of exploring when he was younger. Whether it was going into like the local woodland near him or whatever it was. So I think it captures that essence of for younger gamers. I think they'd have a good time with it, definitely.
What about you, Paul? How did you get on with it?
I agree with you two completely. I wouldn't argue with a single word you said.
What about you, Richard? Anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, it's Darren hit the nail on the head straight away. It is Zelda. But like you say, it's got a bit of a charm to it as well. I made the mistake when I was playing it of using my sword against the dog in the first area, and that summoned a fairy, and that fairy attacked me. And I believe there is an achievement for having this fairy kill you. So you're like your last hit being this fairy come and get you. So it has got this like bit of sense of humor to it as well. Obviously there's a runaway train that's going around like the first area, and you need to figure out how to stop it whilst these onlookers are looking on in horror. I think there is a bit of a humor to it as well. And yeah, I mean it's good fun. I'll probably at some point get around to finishing it off, but yeah, it was fine. If you enjoyed the old school Zelda games, I think there's a certain appeal to this as well.
Yeah. Good. There you go. Adrian's Tale. Is it out now? It is out now, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. I'm going to talk about something Richard's probably going to talk about. We can both talk about it together. I've done about 3 hours of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I got yesterday. That came a bit early. And I think I've probably definitely done what I think most people, if they've got the demo as well, have had a go at that. So, as we know, it carries on from the events of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Is that what it's called? The first one of this lot? Yeah. And then What have you done, Richard? What have you done of this so far?
I'm playing through that first bit now of the demo. I've just done the Materia Guardian.
Oh yeah.
But I think it was in the original. So I'm there now, and Sephiroth's just realised what's actually going on. So yeah, as soon as I've finished on here, I'm off back onto it to see that iconic scene where he turns into the fire in 4K goodness. Having a good time with it so far. I think the beginning bit, because obviously the demo had come out and everyone was expecting it to be this flashback section, but the actual beginning of Rebirth was a bit of a surprise, and it's left me with a lot of questions already as to what's going on there.
I've got a funny feeling, right, Richard, that we're not going to spoil anything here, but what happens at the beginning, the questions that you ask, we won't get to right till the end.
Oh yeah.
After 90 hours.
But yeah, it does sort of begin, and you're like, oh, this is a bit different.
Yeah.
But in a good way. I just can't wait to get going on it now. For some reason they put out a launch trailer today, and I started watching it, and I was like, why? Why do I need another trailer for this?
Yeah.
I
think it's great. I really do, and it hooks me. And I was playing it. I was just like, I'm totally into this now. And like you said, I'm kind of looking forward to going back to it. And I've got a bit further than you. I've got towards the end of that whole section, and I'm really enjoying it. I think people who, I'm not saying that's wrong, but I think I played the first one back in 1997 or whatever it was, and I can't remember any of it. So it's like playing a new game for me. It's great. I can't remember anything. And but I think even when people sort of go, well, they don't do this, and you're thinking, this is amazing, some of these sequences that were like, sort of 2.5D kind of on a screen that you haven't got. They've just like things, cinematic. It's like the other one was at the time maybe, but this is amazing. They've done an amazing job of kind of fleshing stuff out. And I think the first one did have that criticism of they just egged it on a bit too long, wandering about. But I had a really good time with that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And I think lots of people are saying about all the kind of the things that you can do, the mini games and everything else is quite. It's hundreds of hours. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
I had similar concern with the first game, but I think because this one's set across a much wider area and length of time in terms of the first game's length, I think it should be a much more enjoyable experience.
Yeah. Paul, what are you going to say?
I was just going to check that I did turn up to the Xbox Hub podcast, didn't I? I've not gone to the PlayStation one by mistake.
As Paul, we always do. We always talk about PlayStation. We talk about Nintendo as well. So, as we always do, Paul. So there you go.
As we always do, Gareth.
And as you're only jealous,
you always do.
As you're jealous because you haven't actually played the game, and that's probably where this is coming from.
All these days.
Yeah. I've got a PlayStation 5. I haven't turned it on this year, I don't think. Yeah. But I do definitely have a PlayStation 5. And I may see. I didn't get on with the first one because I am such a big fan of the original. That the way they changed it didn't sit right with me. I didn't like it. So there you go. So I'm still uncertain as to whether
you're one of these people, Paul, who just say I liked it better when it was in the 50s, and you don't live in the 50s. You can leave your door open.
I don't remember the 50s, Gareth.
You can leave the doors open. Everything was smooth. There was sunshine. The dogs were playing with cats. It was a lovely world.
When I were a kid, you could go out and you'd come home when you were hungry or when the street lights came on. That was it. That's how it was.
Yeah.
So anyway, everything was better in the old days.
Were your ration books?
Yeah, absolutely. You'd have to ask Gareth about ration books.
Good. Darren, what have we got? Have you got another one? Have you? Richard, you've got that one. Paul, what have you got? Impress us with your second game.
Well, I've got an Xbox game, believe it or not. Yeah. And it's just for a change as the TheXboxHub.com's resident tactical RPG specialist. It's another tactical RPG, believe it or not. Yeah. But this one's a little bit more interesting, if I dare say so, than the last. It's called King Arthur Knight's Tale. And the story is that you play as Mordred, Arthur's nemesis, as it were. And there was a final battle, and you and King Arthur managed to kill each other. But something's gone wrong with King Arthur. Although he's supposed to be immortal, we managed to kill him. But now he's come back and he's evil or something. So the Lady of the Lake wakes us up. It's all completely based on fact.
Did you write this, Paul? It sounds like you did.
There's not enough explosions for me to have written it.
Evil or something. Go on, tell us more.
Evil something. Anyway, stop heckling from the back. You've completely put me off my train of thought now. It's derailed and crashed into a school.
I want to know what the something is. It could be something else. Yeah, go on. Sorry, Paul.
So, tactical RPG based around King Arthur. We play as Mordred. We've got to try and get an opposite round table together, if you like, and then put a stop to King Arthur, who is no longer King Arthur, but is something evil instead. There you go.
Yeah. Is it good?
Yes, it's very good.
Ah. Why is it good?
Is it on PlayStation?
It's on PlayStation.
I don't know yet.
It's on PlayStation and PC.
I would imagine it will be on PlayStation, but I haven't. As I say, I've not turned my PlayStation on this year, so I play on the Xbox.
Yes.
So
there you go.
Yes, it's very good. So yeah, if you like a tactical RPG, keep an eye out for that one.
Good. There we go. Any more? Anyone want to talk about anything else? Other games? I think I might move on. Unless Darren's got something.
No, I'm just still loving Tomb Raider Remastered, but I won't bore you with it. I'm playing all three of them simultaneously rather than completing one, and I'm absolutely loving it.
Oh, good. Okay. Richard, you got another one?
No, I was just going to say I've got a couple to talk about in the upcoming March list, so I'll save it for them.
Perfect. Let's do it. Should we go to that list straight away? So every month, at the start of the month, we produce, Gemma does now, an article on the TheXboxHub site and a video and a good YouTube video as well. And it has the games that we're looking forward to on the Xbox in March. And we go through this list and we normally slag it off. We normally
you slag it off,
Gareth. We don't know any names of the game. Half of us don't know what the games are. We didn't know they were coming out. But that's what we're going to do this month. So Gemma, we apologise to you in advance, like we did with Dave before. But I think this month we might know a bit more, might we? I've got this feeling we know some of these games. So let's go through our 12 best Xbox and Game Pass games for March 2024. And the first on the list that Gemma's put on here is, as he scrolls down desperately, this is something Richard's doing. Expeditions, a Mud Runner game. Tell us about this, Richard.
Yeah, so the embargo left was raised at 5 o'clock. So I can talk about this now.
Right.
It's in the similar vein to the Mud Runner and Snow Runner games, where you have this wide open landscape and you're driving around point to point, but it's not a racing game. You're off-roading, trying to set up base camps and deliver various items to these locations or discover new locations within these areas. And it's a very calming game to play. I was surprised when I was playing it how calming it is, in the sense that you're seeing these beautiful landscapes and driving around them, but obviously you need to pay attention because every single rock basically in the game is physically there. So if you take one rock the wrong way whilst you're driving, it can easily cause an issue on the car. But I think my kind of issue with it is there's not really any structure to it. So it's just a series of missions basically where you're doing one thing and then you do another thing. And whilst they do unlock future missions, it's not until far too long that you unlock the free roam element where you can go and do all these side quests and stuff. And by that point, I think you've exhausted the map basically. So yeah, I'm enjoying it to a point, but I think it perhaps needs a bit more of a structure for me to fully really enjoy it. But we'll see.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. Good. I was tempted by this, but it does look. And it's quite nice that you said it's calming rather than just annoying. Like you just can be stuck on a rock for 45 minutes.
But there's a real. You do get a sense of achievement when you navigate around a tough area, and it's never stressful. I can't quite put my finger on why it isn't, because it sounds like if you're stuck in a literally between a rock and a hard place, it would be quite stressful, but it isn't, and I'm still trying to work out why that is.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. Good. Well, good. We look forward to the review. When's that out? Is it out soon?
In next couple of days.
Good. And the next one we've talked about already, Classified, France 44, that Paul's reviewed. Mm-hmm. That's one of our games for the month.
Reviewing.
Okay.
Not quite reviewed yet.
We haven't done any of it. Anyway, let's go.
You behave yourself.
Let's go on.
Yes. Right in the rib.
The next one, maybe Rich can say, is WWE 2K, another wrestling game. You've got high hopes for this one, Richard?
I never have high hopes for a wrestling game, but that's not why a lot of people play them.
I think it feels like maybe this might be good. There's 2 career arcs, original storylines. Is it right that the last few haven't had proper career modes?
It's been a while since I've played one, which is why I kind of wanted to give this one a try, because it's celebrating 40 years of WrestleMania, which is like the one wrestling event that I do watch year on year, whilst I've sort of given up on the rest of it. I always made a point of watching WrestleMania. Yeah. There's like over 200 wrestlers on it though, and then there's a season pass to add more wrestlers into it. So it's a big old game this year. I think probably, like you say, previous years it has been criticised for a lack of content, but yeah, there seems to be a bit more in this one. Some of the character models still look dodgy though.
Right, okay. We haven't got any dates on these again. Gemma, do dates. If you ever listen to this podcast. We don't know when that's coming out soon. High Water. I'm doing this. Maybe I can't talk about it. I don't think I can talk about it.
That looks like a you game.
Yeah, cozy adventure game. I've done about an hour of this so far. I can't say anything about it. But it's a game set in the sort of era when there's been global warming, huge floods, and you're kind of like this group of people travelling around on boats to different places, and it's a bit of, what's the word? Real-time strategy to it as well. Paul's area, turn-based combat, and I can't say anything about it, but it looks really exciting. That's coming out mid-March. The next one is, I think this might be out now, man. The Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection.
Not yet. The Dark. What was the Dark Forces one? Is that the remaster that's just come out?
That's what I got confused with. Yeah. Okay.
This is the original 2 Battlefront games for Star Wars, which were brilliant back in the day. So I'm keeping an eye on this one.
Good. That's coming out, I think. I remember now. Sorry, 18th of March or something like that. Good. We know these games. They're amazing. Next one, Lightyear Frontier. Anyone know this?
Nope.
No.
I knew it was too good to last. This is coming on Game Pass on day one. I do know this one. We did see this one. This is we've seen this on one of the shows in the summer. It looks quite good, like a farming sim game, but with a bit of a difference, like robots. Remember this?
No.
Paul, you like this?
I love a farming sim, mate.
Yeah, this looks good. Is it in-game preview when it comes on Game Pass, or is it? I don't know. But yeah, it does look quite interesting. So if you like your farming sims there. Oh, House Flipper 2. That's coming out this month. I like this game. I really got into this. Any of you played the first House Flipper?
No.
You basically decorate a house, which is terrible because I don't do anything in this house. And if my partner saw me decorating a house, I'll be online. I think there'd be trouble. So yeah, you have these houses, you have a little mission, and you have to kind of like clean up houses, and then you have to do the interiors for it. Do you know what? It's one of those games that I've played. It's just quite addictive and quite Maybe I've played too many of these games.
Grief.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you can do that one while I do the one that
No,
we're
you're
going to
not.
talk about later on. Yeah.
No, you failed now. This is it. I've got this one now.
You haven't.
We've made deals. There's been contracts signed. It's Dragon's Dogma 2. It's coming out towards the end of the month. This is good. They're producing a lot of trailers for this at the moment. They're really going for it. Yeah,
it's too much game for you, especially because you've got Final Fantasy VII to go at, so you won't have time.
Oh no, I can handle my time, unlike Sam in the room. That's coming out soon, and we've got Bulwark, Falconeer Chronicles. Yeah, this is good. This is from the brilliant developer Thomas Sala, who I think I met just before COVID and talked about the Falconeer. That kind of world looks great. And this is more like a building sim, is it?
It's a city building thing, isn't it? But it's set in the world of the Falconeer. So, I mean, I'm not sure how it's going to work, to be honest, because it's such a shift in genre, isn't it? From the originals. But it looks interesting. I think it's got your name on it, to be fair.
Well, maybe. Yeah, that's coming out, and then we've got Llamasoft, the Jeff Minter story. Now, I think William's doing these, and they're quite intriguing, aren't they? Does anyone know anything about this before I start rattling on?
Well, I know about Llamasoft and Jeff Minter.
Go on.
Well, he was just a bonkers developer back in the sort of 80s and 90s, wasn't he? Who made lots of very weird games, usually featuring llamas. So that's about as much. I don't know much about this collection or whatever it is, but that's what I remember from back in the day when I was looking at his games in the video game shop, still on cassette. So yeah,
I think this is the second in these kind of. I think they're called interactive documentaries. So I think you're getting loads of videos about the making of and about Jeff Minter as well, but then you get to play bits of the games as well. I think William for us did the first one. I can't remember the first game in this kind of series.
It was Karateka.
There we go. And he loved it, William, didn't he? So I think this is good. I really want to go at these. I think I was up my street just to. I just want to watch the documentary.
I wanted to do the first one. I've actually met Jeff Minter at one of the events, and I didn't really like him, so I wasn't interested in this one.
Why not, Richard? Why did you like him?
Yeah, what did he do?
He just came across as very standoffish, and which is the one that came out a couple of years ago that he'd done. I can't remember what it was, but it was for that one, and he just left a bitter taste in my mouth.
Oh no!
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Well, we don't know what happened there, but
yeah, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, we won't be.
He'll not be listening. I'll be all right.
The next one is Planet Zoo Console Edition. Who's done the Planet? Who's played these before?
Yeah, this was the second game that I did at the Frontier Open Day thing. The first one being the Warhammer game that Paul just reviewed. This is, if you ever played Planet Coaster when it came, it launched in Game Pass when the Series X came out. It's basically the same UI and it's the same setup, but it's a much more deeper simulation game, and some of the animals look absolutely stunning in it. So I'm looking forward to this one as well.
There we go. Yeah, that's look good. We've also got on the list here is a new Star GP. The hell is it? Oh, this is what Neil was talking about.
Neil's going to have to review this one, I think.
This is an arcade racer, puts you in the heart of motorsport management. Think F123, but with a retro feel. Reading Gemma's words here. Yeah, it's like a Neil or Paul game.
It's not a Paul game.
Anything you feel like's been missed out in March? I've got a couple here.
Go on then, what have you got?
Go on, you tell us what you got, Paul, first of all.
I have got absolutely nothing, Gareth.
Richard, you got anything?
No, I'm not actually.
Darren, you got anything?
I didn't know there was homework.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I can't think of anything obvious that's missing.
I've got 3. Right.
Ooh, big teacher's pet.
The first one is Taxi Life, a sit-in driving simulator.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Damn
well.
it. That's me.
How did I miss
losing
that?
God now.
It's a game I would like. I wish we got to get 2 codes for this, so I just stream it. It just looks good. It's driving around Barcelona, being a taxi driver. I don't know. I fancied this for quite a while.
I wonder if you'd be more successful as a taxi driver than you were as a bus driver.
and a tram driver. Oh my
That's
word.
what I was thinking of, the tram.
There's some tram DLC coming out soon. Anyway, there's Alone in the Dark as well.
Oh, is that up?
Is that out soon?
March the 20th. Yeah, so just a couple of days before Dragon Dogma. Yeah,
that was delayed, wasn't it, from last year?
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
So, that could be I think that could be good fun. There is Tram Simulator, Urban Transit. Yeah, I think that's another game on its own. Wow, that's good. And there was one more, I think, is Open Roads. Now, I don't know if Open Roads been delayed another month, but Open Roads is from Annapurna.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
I think that's coming out towards the end of the month. Might be delayed again, but it's on Game Pass anyway. So there you go. That's how much. That's not too bad. I think it's a good list. We've heard of some of the games. That's pretty good. Well done, well done, well done, all of us. Let's talk about some news. It's really grim out there. In our news on our Discord here, we've just got how many redundancies and companies getting rid of people is pretty mad, isn't it? Darren, what have you got? What's your count of who you've got at the moment? People.
Oh, blimey. Well, it feels like the floodgates have opened after, because we were talking about Microsoft and stuff last week. So we've had supermassive games. They've said that they're slimming down. So 90 odd workers, I think it is, that are going to go. Then we've had, who else have we had? PlayStation, the big one.
Yeah.
Cutting 900 staff, around 8% of its workforce. And then not long after that, we had EA as well, I think. We're saying that they were going to cut around 600, 700. And then there's some other little ones as well, like Studio, Deck 9. So it is really almost relentless, and we're only at the end of February. So I don't know if we're missing the obvious, but it sounds like there's a real kind of urgency to restructure to make sure these companies are protecting their efficiencies and profits, or are they just being greedy? I don't know. It's
at the EA stuff, the Star Wars FPS, which I think only they just announced. Is that a Mandalorian one? That's the one that's been cancelled, which is
at Respawn.
Yeah. And the PlayStation one is the thing, because that was in London. It's the London studio, and that's all gone. So I kind of knew a couple of people who were working there that they just got rid of that completely. And they were doing VR stuff, but they were doing a big co-op AAA game. So, yeah, and again, the Life is Strange people, they're getting rid of quite a big Deck 9. They're getting rid of a load of people as well. Paul, what's your thoughts? Do you think it is? I think that's the thing. Do you think this is where we're going? Is it? I know we've talked about this last week. We're going to see more of this? Do you think?
It's tough to call. Obviously, it's tough for the guys involved and everything else. But I've read a few takes on the internet because I like to follow Darren's example every now and again and go and have a look on Twitter and see what's going on. And it seems to be that the consensus of opinion seemed to be that these companies had hired far too many people, and now all of a sudden they're realizing that they've got too many people and not enough work, so something's got to give. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. Obviously, reading it on Twitter, it could be any number of things. But yeah, I mean, it's just all sympathy to the guys that are losing their jobs, isn't it? It's a rough time to be a developer by the sound of things. So yeah, I can't really say much more than that, to be fair.
No, fair enough. Richard, any thoughts you want to say about it?
think yeah, it's for someone perhaps on the outside looking in, it does seem a bit weird how it's a lot of video game studios seem to be doing the same thing at the same time. Whereas you then look at Respawn, who have just decided to buy the rights for Control off of, who was it? I can't remember who it was. 505 Games, and there just seems to be some sort of something's going on, and I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist here, but it's a lot of studios. But then last year was such a bumper year for games. I know that Remedy again came out and said that Alan Wake was it yet to break even though it had done really well and things like that. So I think it is perhaps production costs are just spiraling out of control. Everything's looking to be bigger and better, and you see the smaller successes like the Assassin's Creed game from last year, which was a much more condensed adventure. I think we almost need to look at those games going forward and whilst have the major releases obviously, but also focus on smaller iterations as well to keep this industry in a healthier position.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's echo everything you said. I think it's we don't know. I think maybe this can't go on like this. I think the redundancies being made everywhere in every industry as well. It can't. You want to know what's going on here. Why are you doing this? What's the profits at the other end? Are they changing? Have they gone down, or are they staying the same? Are these redundancies to keep that? Is this model going to work? But it's when studios go, whole studios or games get cancelled that people really that worries me more. Well, It all worries me, but it's it's not sustainable this as well for people. Because also, what are these people going to do? You so when you leave an industry like a game thing, it's not like they're looking. There's loads of other people employed at the moment. Yeah, it's just really horrible for them. So our hearts go out to everyone. Let's keep it light. We're gonna
know when you're going to start.
We're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to what we did last week. With Richard's on. We're gonna go for now. We're going to do Dobbo's Confessional. Now, at this point, there might be a sound effect that comes on now. But if you haven't heard that sound effect, I can only apologise. I couldn't put it in. But I'm sure... Let's put a gap now. Ready? This is Dobbo's Confessional. Hopefully that worked. What a sound effect.
So professional.
Good.
Professional confessional.
Exactly. Dobbo's Confessional. Tell us the rules, Richard.
So I basically pose not necessarily a deep and meaningful question related to video games to these guys, but it's just to perhaps understand our tastes a little bit better and also chat a little bit more about games. Not necessarily modern ones, but yeah, that's what the podcast's all about, really.
And we don't know what you're going to ask us, do we?
No, I don't know. We'll see. I think this one might require a little bit of thinking, but I'll ask the question and then I've got an example as well, so you guys can think about it whilst I explain mine. But this week I was asking if you were to look at your gaming backlog throughout history, throughout your career in gaming, which is the one franchise that you feel you've neglected more than others?
That's a good one. Richard, you tell us yours.
So I think mine is probably the Silent Hill series, back when it was a thing and not just on indefinite hiatus. I was a bit of a scaredy cat and didn't touch anything like that. But since I've come full circle now, loved the recent Resident Evil games and the supermassive choose your own horror adventure games, I really do want to perhaps delve a little bit more into this this franchise that I've not touched apart from the demo. The demo came in the Metal Gear Solid original game. I think I played that, and that was literally all I've played of it.
Wow! So you're really excited for the Silent Hill 2 game coming up this year, maybe?
Yeah. A chance to play a Silent Hill game that's been considered a classic, basically.
Silent Hill 2 is the best of the series, without a shadow of a doubt. It's absolutely fantastic.
There we go.
So,
good, that's good. Paul, Darren, you've got one?
I think Darren can go first.
Darren, go on, Darren.
That's a good question. I think the one that stands out to me immediately is Assassin's Creed. That's interesting because we've got an Assassin's Creed fan here. I have never played an Assassin's Creed game to completion apart from 3, I think it was. And I've always wanted to kind of dip into the open world games from Odyssey onwards or Origins, whichever came first. And I've just never made the time. And now there's so many, I feel like, where do I start? Or do I just cut my losses and leave it there? So where would you recommend I start, Gareth, if you would at all?
Cut your losses. Cut my losses. I'm off. I would say go into the newer ones. Maybe, because you like an RPG, don't you? I would say maybe go do Assassin's Creed Origins. Maybe go from there in that new sort of mixture of RPG and go for that. I think that's a good one to start with.
So I'm looking forward to Codename Red. It looks good because of the setting more than anything. But yeah,
what's really nice is that London one's really good. You go back and it won't look too dated. The Syndicate, I think, that's really nice. But yeah, that's a really good one because the whole gameplay changed. You know, some people might Assassin's Creed people go, "Oh, it's not like it used to be. You can't climb up things." Yeah, and they do that a lot.
Is that how Assassin's Creed fans talk?
They do. When Mirage came out, they went, "Oh, this is exactly what I wanted, but I don't like it."
Brilliant.
Yes. Good. I think you start with that one. Give it a go. I think it must be on Game Pass now, is it? Or maybe they've got rid of it all. Ubisoft now.
It was at one point. Yeah. I'm not sure if it is still or not.
Yeah. Good. That's a good one, isn't it, Richard?
Yeah,
Paul?
Yeah, good one, Darren.
Paul, what have you got?
And thank you for opening up and being honest.
Darren has kind of stolen one of the answers I was thinking about because I have also. No.
It's not a competition, Paul.
Just because you got there first. Anyway, no. I've never completed an Assassin's Creed game either. So, but the series that I'm going to choose should actually make Dobbo quite happy. I'm going to choose the Like a Dragon games because I've never played any of those, or the Yakuza games. I think it was Yakuza first, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've never played any of those. And again, I'm in the same situation now as Darren, where you think, well, there's about 26,000 games here. Which one do you pick? Where would you start? I mean, do you need to start at the beginning? Do they all follow on from each other? What would you suggest, Dobbo?
I actually once wrote an article about this on the TheXboxHub website.
That would imply that I've got time to go and look at what's written on that website.
The best starting point is either Yakuza 0, which is a prequel to the main series, or Yakuza Kiwami. I think if you play one of those and then play the other one afterwards, you'll get a very different experience. I did Yakuza 0 first, so I was dead set on the main character's friend in that first game as being like an absolute gentleman. But then in Yakuza Kiwami, he's the main antagonist, so it's a very different dynamic that I have with that character. But if you were to play Kiwami first and see him as this bad guy, and then go back to 0 and see him as this and as his best mate from years ago, I think it would be interesting to see it done that way as well. But those two are your best starting points, I think, because Yakuza 0 is the series highlight, and Kiwami is just a really good introduction to a lot of characters.
Oh, well, maybe one day I will
He's not
try
going
that.
He's not going to do this.
No.
He can't even read. And for listeners out there, please read the TheXboxHub articles. I know we haven't got time to read them. They're really good. Good. It's me now. Forgive me, Richard, for I have sinned. I have never played a Legend of Zelda game.
What?
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah,
That's unforgivable.
I know. All the way from the beginning, from the small ones. And it's something I've always wanted to play. I've never played in the famous Legend of Zelda on the Nintendo 64. And I haven't played any of the new ones, Breath of the Wild 1 and 2. I really want to play it. I'm thinking maybe I'll get a new Switch next year if it comes out then. And maybe, I reckon they'd do a double pack for that. I reckon that might be a launch title or something. Maybe that's when I get to finally play The Legend of Zelda. But yeah, I know it's not been anything. I haven't deliberately tried to avoid it. I've just missed it because I've never really had a Nintendo system. I don't think I ever had a SNES. I had a Sega. I've never had a Nintendo 64, so I missed out. So I'm afraid I apologise. Can you forgive me?
It's fine, Gareth. I think had I have not bought a Switch a few years ago and then played Breath of the Wild and all the others that released on there as well, I would be saying Legend of Zelda as well. It's only in the past 3 or 4 years that I've really played any Zelda.
There you go. I feel better now. I feel better. Thank you.
My goodness me!
Wow.
I bought a Super Nintendo back in the day to play Legend of Zelda 3: A Link to the Past. That was the entire reason for buying the SNES. So there you go.
Oh, there you go. Thank you, Richard. Is that it? You don't in this one? You don't say who you like the most.
I'm not going to banish anyone to hell this week.
No.
Great.
Although I think
I'll be back to it.
Good.
Gareth should do 20 Hail Neils. They'll just do
Hail Neils, I like that.
punishment. Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much. I like that a lot. Doubles confessional. Thank you. I'm not going to put the sound effect in again. Once that's enough.
Oh, do it again. You should do it at the end as well.
No, I can't do it twice. Good. What are we looking forward to next week? Now, I'm afraid the podcast won't be there next week because it's my birthday and I don't know what I'm doing, so I can't commit to a day. So we're going to have a week's break, back in a fortnight. That's all right, though, isn't it? Darren, what about you? What are you doing?
So I am going to be up at 2 a.m. Because I'm going to see a friend who is working out in Brussels at the minute. So catching an early flight from Birmingham at 6 in the morning. So I'm looking forward to the weekend. Not so much looking forward to getting there.
Good, but you'll be right. You get to the airport. When you get there, it's fine. You're on holiday.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Have a drink. 6 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely.
Good. Richard, what about you?
I've got one thing I'm looking forward to and one thing I'm not looking forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing Sam Campbell tomorrow in Leeds. He's an Australian comedian. I think he's very young as well, but he was on the latest series of Taskmaster and I just absolutely fell in love with him. His chaotic approach to comedy is very much my kind of thing, and I can only wonder at what shenanigans are going to happen tomorrow. Looking forward to him. What I'm not looking forward to is eventually playing the Outlast Trials with you, Gareth. Because, I don't know why I've agreed to this. Having played 10 minutes of the first one, I am like, what am I doing here?
Have you done the tutorial yet?
Do I have to do that before I can play online?
Yeah. Absolutely. You've got to do about half an hour, 40 minutes on your own.
No,
crying.
Hell.
And then we're together in a little hub area. Yeah, do that. Right. We'll do that next week, shall we? We'll work out a day. Yeah,
if
perfect. We have to. Yeah, it's quite grim.
There's 2 more codes going if anyone wants to hold my hand.
What's quite nice, we can't talk about it. We should be talking about it. But yeah, anyway, that's all I'm going to say. We'll talk about it next week. I'm crying as we talk about it. What about you, Paul?
I'm just waiting for Dobbo's PTSD treatment to come in next week. He's going to need it by the sound of it.
Giving it. Sorry, Paul.
No, go on. What were you saying?
I say I were giving it Billy Big Bollocks earlier, saying, "Oh, you know, I'd love to have Laura now." And I've got this just petrified.
Yeah.
And now you've turned into a little girl again.
Yeah.
So, I've had a horrible few weeks at work. It's just been absolutely mental. So I'm taking tomorrow off, and I'm going to go fishing. And then I'm going to take the boy off to his latest scout camp. So get rid of him for 2 nights. And then it's just the wife, really. I need to get rid of her and I'll have some peace. But anyway, I love my family very much.
Wow.
But yeah, that's it for me.
Wow.
And then just the wife to carry on.
I hope she never listens to this podcast as a sort of revenge.
No, she never listens to me full stop, so I won't worry.
Good. All right, brilliant. Thank you, gentlemen. That was very good. And we'll see you all in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You'll be able to find all the notes of this show at www.TheXboxHub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.